So recently Toyota reported to Road and Track that nearly 50% of the 2023 model year Toyota Supras have been sold in a manual transmission. 47% of 2023 Supras sold are stick shift. That is 1,216 units for this model year. That honestly is a really cool thing to see, especially in today's day and age where more and more cars are going EV, and it seems like there's a huge percentage of buyers who want cars that basically do all the work for them, drive themselves, and do stuff like that. So it's awesome to see the enthusiast car selling in those kind of numbers. Now, obviously it's a low volume sports car, but when you look at the spectrum, especially here in the USA, where like 5% of our cars are manuals, everyone drives automatics here. The C7 Corvette, only like 26% of those ever sold were manuals. When you look at M3s and M4s, it's like 15%. When you look at the Ford Mustang, it's about 25% or so. And even 2022, Toyota said they were expecting about 25% of their Supras, once they offer the manual, to be sold in a manual. However, it seems like a lot more people are looking towards the enthusiast version. Now, today's video, I'm gonna kind of talk about the manual versus automatic debate, especially on the Mark V Supra. It gets a little annoying looking through the Facebook groups of Supra owners. There is such a big population now of basically automatic fanboys who are haters of the manuals, who instantly have so many horrible things to say because this is the slow Supra, and to them it makes a huge deal. So we're gonna talk a little bit about my opinions on that and just kind of hopefully settle the debate to get people to quit basically hating on each other's cars. So to go ahead and start, let's get out any bias that I might have. I owned a 2020 Toyota Supra for 2 years, automatic transmission. I really enjoyed that car. Currently, I own the 2023 Supra with the manual. It's been 6 months, and I really enjoy this car. So to me, each car has its benefits. They're both fantastic options. It just depends on what you're going to do with the car. So what is kind of weird to me is how many times, whenever the topic manual versus automatic comes up in the Supra groups, people instantly who are automatic owners always like make fun of the manual guys, saying, well, you must love a slow car, enjoy driving your slow Supra, blah blah blah. Like, what? Okay, so 0 to 60 in the automatic 3.0 Supra, you're looking at around 3.8 seconds. Certainly a quick car. I mean, these aren't slow, they're pretty darn quick. The manual, you're looking at about 4 seconds. So you're talking 0.2 seconds slower, and yet people seem to make a huge deal about how much slower this car is. You know, when we had the Nissan Zs as some press cars, I did 0 to 60 testing in the automatic and the manual. I got 4 seconds flat in the automatic very consistently. In the manual, I got 4.2 to 4.5. Obviously, I'm not a computer. I cannot do it perfect every single time, but 0.2 to 0.5 seconds slower than the automatic. And my question is to all these Supra, basically these automatic fanboys, manual haters, are you racing your car every single time you're in it? Like, it's almost as if these people think when you buy a car, you are always launch control, drag racing every single stoplight, living in Fast and Furious to where every single stoplight, you're racing the car next to you. Are you doing time attack trials every single weekend with your car at the racetrack where you're competing for lap times? Honestly, 95% of these buyers of these cars are not doing that. They're driving it to work and back, playing with some back roads. Yeah, a couple highway pulls maybe with your friends or a random car that you might encounter, couple quick acceleration, things like that. Obviously, there's sports cars, we have fun with them, but there is no way people are racing their cars that much, that competitively all the time. Most people buy a sports car for the pure enjoyment, the fun factor, ripping through the back roads, you know, just playing with the car. Now, with the manual, it's fun. Now, the first to second gear change is basically going to be the slowest point in a manual, to where, yeah, if there was an automatic Supra, same mods as mine next to me, it would have been a little bit faster. However, what I find in the real world, I'm hardly ever at a standstill doing a race from a dig. Normally, you're already up and going, even if, you know, I'm in third gear or something. If there's a Supra next to me and we did a third gear pull, we'd honestly be about the exact same. So I don't really understand the point when people say this is the slower Supra. On top of that, I bet you if you took a good chunk of the automatic fanboys and raced them around a track against the manual drivers, I bet a good percentage of the manual cars would actually be faster around a track just because the drivers are better drivers. If you take two drivers that are doing a racetrack getting the exact same lap times, one person person is in a manual, one person is in the automatic, the manual driver is a better driver simply because they're operating more of the car and getting the same type of lap times. Supras are quick cars. I mean, they make 400 horsepower, not exactly slow. Gosh, they pull pretty hard. When I owned my automatic Supra, I also owned my R35. And both cars at the time of the video you're going to see in a second were full bolt-ons, 93 octane. Guess what? My Supra got obliterated. So as you can see, the Supra got walked by the GTR. It's so much faster than these Supras anyway. The fact that people are complaining about 0.2 to 0.5 seconds 0 to 60 time differences, making it seem like these are significantly slower, you don't see all the all-wheel drive turbo owners of M3s, M4s, RS3s, GTRs. You don't see them making fun of all the rear-wheel drive cars. So I just find it weird where a group of rear-wheel drive owners are complaining about this being the slow option because of the manual, when in reality your automatic Supra will get destroyed by the all-wheel drive cars out there. My GTR smoked my old Supra. It was so much faster, and that kind of performance to me is where you needed a dual clutch. The automatic in the GTR was the right transmission for that car simply because it was so fast it would be incredibly hard to keep up with it in a stick shift. The Supra to me is that sweet spot to where it just depends on what you need out of your car. I think the manual is perfect for the car just because I can use all of this power and still do the manual shifting. It's not too fast for the transmission. When you get to, built up M3s with the X-Drive, yeah, you'd want that automatic transmission. But it's not a car that's too fast to where you can't get the power out of it using a stick shift. So that's what I like about the Supra platform is it's such a well-balanced car that both transmissions suit it nicely. My GTR manual would have been cool, but I couldn't use all the power. This car, I can use all the power with the manual. Now, with all that said, another thing I don't understand is within the group of Supra owners, particularly making fun of the manuals and stuff, if you are that interested in like lap times, 0 to 60 times, things like that, why did you buy a rear-wheel drive car in the first place? Honestly, an Audi RS3 would have been a better option because the all-wheel drive will always be faster than the similarly modified Supra. So if you're concerned about lap times and track times, honestly, there's probably a better car out there for you to do them, especially drag racing. Now, circuit tracks, where you're actually turning and stuff like that, this is a really good platform for a sports car like that since it is a fantastic sports car. But I feel like there's a lot of all-wheel drive cars that are still going to be a lot faster that you could buy at the same price. So I just feel like this car, while it is a good track car, decent drag car if you really wanted this platform for that, this car is all about the mountains, the back roads, just having fun part. And to me, that's where the manual shines because I can just have more fun in it. Now, when I owned my automatic Supra, like I said, that was a perfect car for me at the time. I owned that for 2 years, and I bought that car because I wanted to take the daily driving burden off of my GTR. The Nissan GTR has a very clunky dual clutch. It feels like a manual in slow speeds. And where I was living at the time, I was driving to the airport every single month. Back when my wife and I were dating, we lived 10 hours apart, and I went to the airport every month for 1.5 years. So having a better to drive, easier to drive commuter car style vehicle like the Supra with an automatic, it really was great. At the same time, I could put it in manual mode, use the paddles, and have a blast on mountain road trips. I took it to the track. I had fun with it, and it was a great blend. The last 6 months I owned my automatic Supra, I had moved, my lifestyle changed a little bit, wasn't going to the airport anymore. I was just kind of using it as a fun car on the back roads, and I got bored with the automatic. It just didn't really give me much of a special experience because it could just tone down so much to a normal car. And that's why I sold it to buy a manual car. Ended up buying a manual Toyota Supra. I don't drive this every day. It's not a commuter car whatsoever. This is purely a toy for me. And every time I drive it, because it's a manual, it just has a more special aspect to where whenever I'm in it, I have to work to drive it better. And I think maybe my age is why I'm still on the I enjoy manual side of the story. I'm 29 years old. I feel like my age group and older remembers the good days. I feel so old saying that, but we remember the good days of manuals to where they were so cool, unique, and we saw them dying. The younger generation seems to be a little bit more interested in on paper, faster means better, which I can definitely see that, especially in the comment section throughout the years. Back when I had my 370Zs, I had a manual, both my cars were manuals, and it was significantly different than now. The vast majority of people, 370Z, manual, people hated the automatics. And then fast forward years later, you're seeing a flip of the younger generation. They like the automatics just because on paper they're faster. Now, there are benefits to automatics. If you're genuinely daily driving your Supra, it's your normal car, commuting, I get it. Driving this in traffic and stuff, it gets old, especially maybe if you're even older than me or something. You're not really getting the fun factor. But if you're buying it purely for a fun toy like I did, I couldn't see buying this in an automatic again just because I want as much of a special feeling out of this car as I possibly can. And the manual, you just get to be one with the car. Now see right there, going from 4th to 5th, if there was an automatic Supra behind me, it's not like that split-second gear change, the car behind me would have been in my bumper because I'm so much slower. It wouldn't have made a difference. And I think that's the biggest thing. In the real world, when you're driving these cars for fun, are you really going to notice that extra performance in an automatic as far as timing goes? Probably not. Obviously, we're not always doing 0 to 60 drag racing with these cars, and we're not doing timed circuit runs either. And while, if we were on a racetrack, I could probably lap the track quicker in an automatic than this. Am I, winning money? Am I doing this for a profession? Doing this as a professional race car driver? No, and 99% of people, same thing. You're just driving these cars for fun. So I don't know. I just don't see the crazy debate and why people are so gung-ho about making fun of manuals for being the slower car, when in reality, this thing's pretty darn quick, and any performance increase in an automatic, you just are not going to notice it when you're driving your car around town. It's purely enjoyment and just the engagement level of a fun manual. Alright, so to get towards the conclusion of the video, I think the bottom line is, first off, stop arguing over which car's faster, which car's slower, when 90% of people, probably 99% of people, are not competing for times to where it even makes a difference. Honestly, I don't care if I encounter a car that's faster than me. It doesn't do anything to my ego. I don't care if there's faster cars. Especially coming from owning the R35 GTR, to where, honestly, I'd never encountered a car that was faster than that. So I'm used to a car that is much faster than this, to where people arguing over the differences between the Supras and speed, who cares? These things are quick enough. They're not drag cars. If you want a drag car, a straight line car, or something incredibly fast, go for a GTR or an RS3 or an M3, something that's much faster than this anyway. So I don't really see the point of arguing over track times, and that stuff in a rear-wheel drive sports car. Rear-wheel drive sports cars aren't meant to be serious. They're meant to be fun. While they can put good lap times and stuff down, they're meant to just have fun with. Gosh. See, that was fun. That was good shifting. That was fun. Man, as much as the automatic might have been a half a car length ahead of me, who had more fun? I got to control my car, be one with it. The automatic, just press the gas pedal or click the button. So to me, that right there, that's rewarding. And I feel like I'm maybe at that age group to where it's cool to be part of the car, to where if I'm a better driver, I can drive my car better. There's something about it. You can't put that on paper. You can't quantify it. There's something with manuals to where you just be one with the car and you're able to drive better, you're able to learn more about the car, and it's a really, really cool experience. So with that said, for those of you watching the video and who have maybe been on the Supra forums, and it's not just Supras, I see this in the Z groups, the Mustang groups, Corvette groups, things like that. It's pretty much in every group, I would assume, but obviously I own a Supra, so that's where I'm mostly. With that said, I don't know, buy the car that works for you, honestly, and why are we complaining about hating on manuals or hating on automatics? They both have great things to offer, and more cars are becoming EV, even more boring than you can imagine. And sports cars aren't even money makers. You know, car companies don't have to make these cars. Toyota, they made, I guess, 2,000 or 3,000 of these Supras for 2023 so far. Guess what? They made 500,000 Toyota Corollas, which are pretty boring, not gonna lie. Aside from the GR Corolla, that thing is very fun. But it's cool to see Toyota having the GR Corolla, the GR86, and the Supra all available in manual, which kind of shows the enthusiasm level in the current market. And we're actually seeing an uptick in manual sales lately. They were dying out, but now we're seeing more and more cars available with 6-speed manuals, which is a great thing to see. It shows that the enthusiasm for the enthusiast driving is still there. People still want to be connected to their cars. And like I said, these are low volume cars that aren't money makers. They don't have to make these. They wouldn't break a sweat not making these cars. It doesn't make them any money. So I think arguing about these cars is kind of futile, just because be glad these cars exist. Be glad they're still making cool sports cars that you can just rip around in. Whether it's an automatic or a manual, it's great to see these low volume cars still available. Because before long, you never know. What if everything is a boring EV sedan that you hop in, you press a button, and it drives you for you? I don't know, as an enthusiast, I don't want to see that. I want to see enthusiast cars that are fun to drive. I want to see manuals and automatics. I want to see dual clutches, torque converters. I want to see hybrids. I want to see cool cars that are fun, but I want to see cool cars that are engaging too. And at least with this Supra, the automatic is engaging and it still offers you the convenience side. But why is anybody hating on the fact that the manual is here? It's great to see that half the sales are manuals. That's a really cool number to see. You see about the same thing on the Nissan Zs. About half or so are actually selling as manuals as well. So it's cool to see that in these Euro import cars for sure. And I don't know, I just don't see the point why so many people have to hate on this being slower than the automatic, especially when there's a lot of faster cars out there that destroy these things anyway. So anyways, that's kind of my take on it. Again, I'm not a fanboy, I'm not a hater of either transmission. Simply buy the car that works for you and quit hating on the people who have the cars that you didn't buy. I think maybe people are just a little jealous that they couldn't get the manual. Obviously, this came out many years later, but I don't know, buy what works for you and enjoy it. And if you're all in the Supra group, why can't you all just get along? Enjoy the car. We all bought the same car for a reason. Why is there so much controversy within the same group of cars? I don't know. Anyways, comment below your thoughts on that. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep enjoying my manual Supra. And when I sell this car, my next car is going to be manual after this, because I want to keep that alive. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next video.